Customers, this is a members only video studying the past performances, giving my perspective. For this video, we're only going to look at the past performances. I'm going to do another video later looking at the charts. There's a ton of noise out there. Every single person's got a video, most of them free, analyzing workouts and pedigree and post position, trainers, jockeys. There's so much noise. All I can tell you and emphasize is that this is just one race a year. Keep it simple, have a strong opinion, and have fun. Derby Day is one of the funnest days of the year. All right, what we're going to look at is we're going to look at a few things for every horse. We're going to look at this pedigree information that they give, which is very simple, easy to understand, sire stats and dam stats. We'll glance at mud, and that's just to remind you that if it does have an off track, look at that. We're going to look at their form cycle. We're going to look at their kind of race pattern. We'll glance at the workouts. That's about it. All right, so let's get started. Citizen Bull. Bob Baffert draws the rail. Pedigree is pretty average. You're going to see a lot better ones as we go through this. And what concerns me more than the pedigree is that the horse gave up the lead in the last race pretty badly. And that is definitely not a recipe for winning. I do like the fact that the horse has only raced twice this year and could improve in third start of the year. That's a great pattern. Bob has put some really good workouts into the horse. I don't want to overanalyze that, but those workouts are very solid. You'll see those are very different. The horse has 3 workouts going from 4, 6 to 7 furlongs. They're going to be very different than when we look at Rodriguez. But this is a speed horse, and there are 4 speed horses drawn inside post position 5. And you could argue that this 6th horse is also speed. We'll talk about that later. The break and the run of the first turn is going to be so important for those 4 horses. And it's impossible to predict, but I don't like it. I don't like any of those 4 horses from a front runner standpoint because I can't project what's going to happen. I think the pace is going to be quick because those horses are going to try to get position against each other. And this horse was fading already in a small field of 5. So I'm against Citizen Bull based on what I see here. Neoquos, number 2. Really the same kind of story, very average pedigree, especially weak on the top. And again, tired the last 2 races and figures to do so again as a speed horse. Has already raced 3 times, so doesn't have quite as good a pattern coming into this. Workouts, I think, are not a factor. Does have good sloppy form, so that's a positive. And again, for speed horses, that's probably the slop is typically a good thing if it comes like an off track. But again, I don't like this horse as one of these 4 inside speed horses who tired in his last, and so I'm going to look elsewhere. Number 3, Final Gambit. You can see much stronger pedigree here, 7.2, 7.6. Also really strong mud. Not surprisingly, the horse has run well on turf and synthetic, and is making first start in the dirt. A lot of horses do jump up first start on the dirt, and this was one that could do that. Brad Cox, nothing wrong with that. This horse is going to definitely be moving late, but may have too much to do, may get a really wide trip. If you saw the trip of this horse in the Jeff Ruby, it's extremely wide. And if you do that in Derby, you don't win. But you do often hit the try. So I do think this horse is very usable underneath, but I'm not sure is a great bet to win. And by the way, if you like him, I'm not going to talk you off of him. 30 to 1, you're going to get paid. And there could be a blistering pace that sets up for this horse. This Jeff Ruby has actually been a fairly fruitful prep for the Derby, and we saw Rich Strike win at 73 to 1, and Rich Strike didn't look anywhere near this good. So this horse can win, but I think is going to have a lot to overcome. There's a lot of really good closers in this race, and but does get a pretty good draw post 3. 4, Rodriguez, the other Baffert, you can see here, not as strong, or just what I call normal work pattern. 2 5 furlong works. So Baffert took it easier. Baffert's smart. Baffert knows how to prepare his horses and is going to do what's right for each horse. He doesn't have just a set formula for every horse. He's individual. And but this horse ran really well in the wood. 148 is a really fast time. Horse did get to the rail. Didn't set super fast fractions. Ran extremely well. But he's not going to get an easy lead here. Might not get the lead at all. And in the last 2 races where the horse didn't get the lead, and that might have been deliberate, but the last 2 races the horse didn't get the lead, got beat by Journalism and Citizen Bull. So, again, I think this horse is probably a casualty of the early pace. Dam Sire, 6.8, Cherokee runs a little bit weak. So I'm a little worried about this horse for sure. The last race was very impressive. Certainly more impressive than what we saw from Neoquist or Citizen Bull. But I'm probably going to lean elsewhere. American Promise. Very interesting. Dwayne Lucas, really, really good pedigree. Took 6 starts to break the maiden. And now it just exploded in his last race to win the Virginia Derby. I mean, I'm just going by memory, but this looks a lot like a Charismatic. This Virginia Derby was extremely impressive. 108.2, 133, 146.2. I know the track obviously was probably super fast, and maybe you can discount this horse because it's not going to get that kind of surface on Saturday. Horse was badly beaten by many, many horses in this race in both the Southwest and the Risen Star. It took 6 starts to break the maiden, like I said. Again, very hard to read, but again, one of 4 horses going for the lead from the first 5 post positions. And I think this horse is definitely going to go. So we're going to get a fast pace, and I'm going to discount all 4 of these horses. But this horse does have some things to like with this huge effort. Could bounce, by the way, off that. If you're a bounce person, could bounce off that effort, but does have the pedigree. Admire Daytona did not take the lead in the Hyacinth. I saw that race, but did run really gamely, I'll say, in the UAE Derby. Did get to the rail, which is often a great place to be on Dubai World Cup Day, but was very, very game. I don't think the horse is going to get anywhere near the lead in our Derby. There's just too many fast horses to his inside. And I don't think this horse is as good as Luxor Cafe. Was soundly beaten by him twice. Once, I guess. This one was close, but was soundly beaten in this race. And then Luxor Cafe came back to run an even more impressive race after that. So I put this horse behind Luxor Cafe. And I think it's kind of interesting that the Japanese horses are drawn next to each other. I think that's kind of a good thing for them. Luxor Cafe, I really like this horse, by the way. Really good pedigree. And Admire Daytona is a little weak underneath with Shackelford underneath. But this horse has a solid pedigree, especially on top with American Pharoah. And is coming into this race beating up on the Japanese horses. And I saw the videos. The horse looks good. I think Japan always sends over good horses. Last year they ran 3rd, 5th. Forever Young could have won. The 5th place horse was a gigantic long shot. This horse is very good. Right now, so far, the first 7 we've talked about, this is my favorite of them. Okay, I like this horse a lot. Journalism. This horse has a stellar pedigree. Curling over Uncle Mo. 7.6, 7.5. Great mud, by the way. Has won 4 straight routes. He's fast. Look at his speed figures. 108, 104. Fastest horse in the race. Really impressive win in the San Antonio Derby. He was ganged up on by another Baffert horse. Got shuffled back. Lost several lengths. Beza got the jump on him. And really, the race was over. I thought there was no chance he was going to win. He didn't need to win. He was already in the Derby, and yet he won anyway. That race was so impressive. And I like this horse better than any other horse coming from the West Coast. Beat Rodriguez badly, beat Barnes badly, beat Citizen Bull badly, beat Baeza despite that bad trip. The only negative on this horse is it's been beating up on small fields, and it's 3-1. Okay, that's the negative. You're not going to get any value. You probably need to defend. This horse looks pretty darn solid. Could get gobbled up with a large field. The horse has a lot of tactical speed. This horse may be closer up than we think, which might be a bad thing. Could get caught in some nasty traffic. All reasons to stay away at 3-1. That's for sure. But this is a very good horse, very impressive in my opinion. But I don't like 3-1. I don't like these 5-horse fields, and I'm probably going to look elsewhere. So still, but that's my thoughts on this horse. By the way, I think this 101.2, some people are saying that's negative. I don't think it is. He's been winning 102s pretty consistently. So I think the workouts look fine to me. Burnham Square. All right, Burnham Square, everyone loved this horse out of the Holy Bull. But then he got beat soundly in the Fountain of Youth by Sovereignty and even by Neoquist, which was kind of shocking. Really ran poorly down the stretch. They switched jockeys to Hernandez, and Hernandez is a good ground-saving jockey. I like that. This horse could get a better trip. Needed a fast pace, plus 13, plus 10 in order to catch East Avenue on the wire. Pedigree is average. At least there's no 6s, but it's an average Liam's Map over Scat Daddy. So the 151.1 is not good. Okay, that's kind of a slow prep. And he won with the pace advantage. I mean, if you like him, great. But I feel like there are better closers. But this horse might get a good trip, might get a fast pace to chase. There's some positives there. But I think there are other horses that are better closers. All right, we're going to move to Grande. Extremely lightly raced. Says here's a speed horse, but he actually took back in the wood. So I don't think this horse will be anywhere near the lead. Might be very tactically placed. Could catch a lot of traffic. Really ran pretty well in that Wood Memorial. No threat to Rodriguez, but ran well and could improve some more in his 4th lifetime start. Really, really strong pedigree, curling over Warfront, and very, very lightly raced. I don't know. I mean, a lot of positives in my opinion. Flying Mohawk. This horse definitely looks like a turf horse. Is out of Kira Conti. That's a turf miler. It gets blinkers off today, which is interesting. He ran well in his last few races with blinkers on. Now, Beckman is 35% with blinkers off. That's amazing. But he's also 4% with greatest stakes. And this horse is definitely a turf horse. And I don't think this horse is eligible to move forward as Final Gambit. It was soundly beaten by Final Gambit. Certainly good form, really good form. Making 3rd start of the year, that's a big positive. So there's some things to like, but I think this horse is behind Final Gambit, who I think is also kind of more of a bottom of the try. So I'm not in love with this horse. East Avenue. He's another speed horse, but it's post 12 with not a lot of speed around him, so he should get a good break. No guarantees. And could figure out what he wants to do, whether he wants to take back if they go super fast or go forward if they go slow. So the jockey's got some options. I like that. Ran really well, holding on to take second by a nose in the Bluegrass. But like I said, that was a slow time. Was soundly beaten in the Risen Star. Moved forward, though, in the Bluegrass, making 3rd start of the year. That's a big positive. It's probably the top speed horse. And just because of the post position, because of the 3rd start of the year, If the pace is modest, which I don't think will be the case, but if it is, this horse could benefit potentially. So anyway, I think I'm kind of discounting the Bluegrass in general because of this 150-101. And his form before that in the previous two races was not great. And he'll probably be a pace casualty. So 13 Publishers, the maiden, has had 3 chances in Oaklawn, ran well in all 3 races to, in my opinion, especially the last 2, but is clearly not as good as Sandman. Sandman is better. He's also heavily raced this year, so I don't think he's really eligible to further improve. There was a workout here at Churchill that he did in 59.3. He worked out with Tistastic. I watched that workout, and he was definitely better than Tistastic. Now, a lot of people are high on Tistastic, and I think both of them are very similar. By the way, they're both drawn right next to each other. I think that's a good thing. And they should get both of these guys should get a decent trip, or at least have, I like their draws. I don't know if this horse is good enough, but I like this horse a lot at 30-1. And big, long, striding horse, great pedigree, American Pharoah on top. Definitely could hit the try. Okay, without a doubt could hit the try. Tistac is almost the same exact story. Now, before the Louisiana Derby, he was kind of an also-ran, getting beaten by Coal Battle, getting beaten by Sandman, getting beaten by Sovereignty. It's already made 3 starts this year, so I don't expect a huge improvement this time. I do like that he ran 9.5 furlongs, that he gets a little longer break, a rest for 22nd of March. Those are positives. He was pace aided, plus 19, plus 23. So the pace really was to his advantage. He may get a similar pace like that on Saturday. But I probably rank Publisher over Tistastic of the 2 Asmussens. But very, very similar horses. Render Judgment, also coming out of the Bluegrass, where he ran a very even, non-threatening 5th. Before that, he was kind of rushed back into the Bluegrass because he was badly beaten by American Promise. And in mid-February, he was badly beaten in the Risen Star. So I think this is just kind of an also-ran horse, figures to get badly beaten. I don't like this horse at all. Coal Battle. Now, this is like my sentimental choice. I've made a lot of money on this horse. I bet him in all 4 of these races, including the Rebel at 12-1. But I made money on him in the Springboard, the Swanee Jones, the Rebel, and he disappointed a little bit in the Arkansas Derby. We'll talk about that. This is a very interesting horse. Now, the pedigree is probably the worst pedigree in the whole race, and you'll hear that from everybody. And he did tire in his last race, and even in the Rebel, Sandman was getting to him late. So the pedigree is a big concern. He was a little too close to this 45-1, 110-1. He was 3rd out of 9, and then third, on both within 4 lengths of the second hole. He was probably a little too close to the pace, but he was beaten. He was beaten. He was beaten not only by Sandman, he was also beaten by Publisher, and he did tire. I got no problem if you want to toss him. I'll probably be forced to use him. He's just been such a good horse to me. I do like the small town connections with Lonnie Briley and Juan Vargas, but they're also underdog connections. This horse is very tactical. I think this horse could come from well back and probably will be more patiently ridden in the Derby. But the horse is very tactical, has push button speed, has great speed on a turn, can race inside horses. He's game. There's a lot of real good positives. He's definitely outrun his pedigree, but the question is, can he really get 10 furlongs? It's hard to say, but there's a lot of positives. I like the draw, 16 hole. 17 hole Sandman, I like the draw. This horse is really improving. Heavily raced, probably not going to improve anymore, but really ran well in the Arkansas Derby. Was pace aided there and has to get the trip, has to get the trip. So that's what's so hard about this race. Great pedigree. It's knowing which horse is going to get the trip. And this is a very wide open Derby. I would demand a price. And this horse is probably going to be second or third choice, and it's probably not a good enough price for me to bet to win. Sovereignty. I like this horse is making third start of the year. That's a big positive. 18 starting to get wide, but he comes from behind for William Mott. Ran really well at Churchill last year. Came back, won the Fountain of Youth, beating some nice horses. And then ran a very good second. Was no match to Tappan Street, who's injured and not running. But really ran well here and might run even better on Saturday. I think the 18 hole's fine. Should be able to run freely. Great pedigree in the bottom with Bernardini. 7.5 average win distance. So I got no negatives on this horse, but the price is a little short, 5-1. That's for sure. I don't think he's that much better than some of these horses that are 30-1. But he's a good horse. Chunk of Gold. This horse is the real underdog story. Bought for $2,500. I mean, that's that's just amazing. And ran really well, close to a fast pace in the Louisiana Derby. Ran really well. And it's a great long shot. This horse might go off at humongous odds. Pedigree is a little soft, kind of in the average category. Might be a little too close to the pace. Probably going to get caught wide. Won't be able to take back and save ground. Deserving long. He's definitely a long shot. Okay, but he does have some interesting form. A lot of seconds, and this horse is a fighter. I think it's an interesting long shot. And then Owen Almighty probably shouldn't even be in here. Another one with a bad pedigree. This one out of Speightstown. This pedigree is even worse than Gold Battles, actually. Was badly beaten in the Blue Cross, running up close to the pace. Might take back more this time and get caught extremely wide from the 20 hole. I don't like this horse at all. Ortiz is not riding him. Ortiz is, I think, on Sandman. This is definitely a pretty easy fade. And then Baeza is the wise guy horse if he draws in. And going to have a rough post position for a horse that likes to be fairly close up front. And this horse is definitely not as good as Journalism. And I'm not even sure if this horse is as good as Rodriguez, So I think this horse is kind of a wise guy, over bet kind of horse. I would definitely stay away from him if he draws in. All right, that's how I see the past performances. A lot more content to come. I'm going to analyze the chart here. Probably have a video posted tomorrow about the chart. I'll do also some extensive handicapping of other races on Derby Day. And really looking forward to the weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Take care.